Hey, this is pretty good. It's delicious. Who made it?
I did.
Oh. What is it?
It's Mississippi pot roast.
It's racist, dude.
Do you like fun and adventure? Then sit back and enjoy the Brothers Not Lovers as they discuss all things movies. What's overrated or underrated? What makes you go really? Or how dare you? Or even just simply how funny this movie can be. You have the insightful, intuitive Davey, who is awesome. And you have the film bestie, Josh. He's there.
Hi, I'm Davey. I'm awesome. This is Josh, the film bestie.
What's up?
And this is How Dare You? Where we take movies that were incessantly bashed or just not appreciated in their time that we loved and say, how dare you?
Like Geely.
I will say, how dare you make that piece of crap?
Yeah.
I get Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez wanted to work together, but that?
It's worse than that time they worked together in Batman.
They didn't work together in Batman.
Oh, I think I dreamed that. Because it got really dark. Really dark.
That's because you had your glasses on. So for our first, How Dare You? A movie that took a chance on a franchise that we loved as kids, that they had made movies about before, but, its audience had grown up, realized it was a little cheesy. They tried again. In my opinion, did a great job. But all of you were bashing it because it wasn't as cheesy as the original.
I swear, I didn't... I mean, come on. You can't always win with the Care Bears. Jeez.
I'm not talking about the Care Bears. I'm
Oh.
talking about something even cheesier. The Power Rangers!
Go Power Rangers!
In 2017, they made a more modern version of it.
I like that movie.
I did too. It was good. Obviously it wasn't like the TV show, but if you ever go back and watch the TV show, it was really, really cheesy.
Very.
Don't get me wrong, I love it for nostalgic reasons. As a kid, I loved it because I didn't know how cheesy it was. I was a kid.
And as a kid, I loved it for the Pink Ranger.
Yellow Ranger.
Oh, her too.
Yeah.
Both of them.
Rest in peace.
Pink Ranger died?
No, just the Yellow Ranger. But they made the updated one with making sure that the Black Ranger wasn't the black kid so that none of you would get upset. He was the Blue Ranger in that one. But it didn't matter. Whichever order they wanted to do the Rangers was really cool. And, for crying out loud, Zordon was played by Bryan Cranston.
You can't go wrong.
Yeah, when Zordon can double as guru and a meth maker, what more do you want?
I mean, so he was trying to have Jesse killed in this movie. Big deal.
He wasn't really trying to have him killed. He was just trying to, come back to life. And I like that they did a different spin with it. Like, that they had Zordon, who was a past Ranger. I like that the original Green Ranger turned out to be Rita Repulsa. I liked Elizabeth Banks as Rita Repulsa.
She did pretty good.
She did. It was good.
I know she's been getting a bad rep ever since her version of Charlie's Angels came out.
Ugh.
Oh, I'm sorry. A piece of my soul chips away, kind of like in Harry Potter when you kill somebody. Whenever I mention that movie, it just falls off and I develop a Horcrux. But this movie should have had a sequel.
It really should have, especially because they opened it for a sequel. They were like, hey, Tommy Oliver. We were like, oh, we're going to get a freaking sequel with the Green Ranger. Our favorite Ranger.
Give us the sequel.
Seriously. Okay, the only criticism I had was I wasn't crazy about how they did Goldar not really being a being, but just a bunch of gold that she was able to control. But other than that, it was really good. The characters had great chemistry. They gave you that impression that they didn't like each other at first, but it grew on each other, became a team. And again, it was more grown up but not too grown up like the short film that came out before this movie.
Oh, I like that too.
It was good, but let's face it, that was never going to happen as a full-length film. It was too grown up.
Mm.
It was grown up enough to where I could enjoy it, because let's face it, if nowadays I were to sit here and get a new show like the original Power Rangers, I'm not going to watch that. But it was also still kid-friendly enough to where I had no issue with my kids watching it in 2017. So the fact that we couldn't get a sequel to that one, the fact that you guys couldn't stop complaining that it wasn't like the original TV show, how dare you?
How dare you? Our next How Dare You. It's not a John Wayne movie. It's not a John Wayne Gacy movie. And it certainly is not a Patrick Stewart movie. And I'm talking about The Alamo, starring Billy Bob Thornton.
I mean, I love that, but you lost me after John Wayne Gacy, Patrick Stewart.
Just saying, this wasn't their movie.
Okay. But yes, we're talking about the 2004 edition of The Alamo. With, like you said, Billy Bob Thornton. Also had Dennis Quaid.
It's almost 20 years old.
Yeah. Also had Jason Patrick.
Ew.
It was a really good telling of The Alamo. Some people keep bashing the historical inaccuracies, but then again, as a history buff, what people need to remember, we really don't know much about what actually happened at the Alamo. There's never been a really reliable account. What they know about the Alamo is just what they're putting together from all the stories that were being coming out that most they know were crap. And then there was people who said that the movie was boring. What movie were we watching? The movie was action-packed. It was drama-filled. It was a great movie.
I have so many people telling me the John Wayne version was way better. That one was boring as hell.
Very much so.
It just dragged on and on with John Wayne. Let's protect the Alamo, brother.
Hey, I'm Davy Crockett, don't you know? Like, is it just me, or does John Wayne always sound like he's doing an impression of himself?
Big time. This one had good actors. It had a consistent storyline. Granted, Jason Patrick was a little underutilized, but
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, granted, around that time, Jim Bowie was really suffering from tuberculosis. Again, depending on the accounts you hear, he was fighting the whole time despite his tuberculosis. He was bedridden the whole time because of his tuberculosis. We really don't know, because ultimately nobody who knows for sure survived. It seems to me that they got the most believable story I could ever get out of the Alamo. We don't know how Davy Crockett died, whether he died heroic, standing and fighting, or if he died pleading for his life. We don't know. We know that Sam Houston refused to go in there with not enough people, even though it meant the death of these men. Which, if you think about it, was a good idea. Because then he would have just gotten more people killed.
Remember the Alamo.
Remember the Alamo, yes.
Stars and stripes. Burn big and bright.
Deep in the heart of Texas. The only thing disappointing about this movie is that they never did show the basement.
There was no basement at the Alamo.
You felt for the characters, you connected with them, you ended up wanting the potatoes.
I'll pass them right back.
So for those of you who didn't give it a chance to let it go on and be one of those classic, famous historical movies, how dare you?
How dare you? How dare you not release a 20th anniversary extended edition? That would be great.
Be long, but it'd be great. For our next How Dare You, one of the movies that defined our childhood. Movie we loved, always wondered why we never got a second one. Later realized it was because it didn't do that well.
I will venture a guess. Howard the Duck?
Finally, he got one right. Yes.
I'm trying, dude. Oh, hey, I
Howard the
did.
Duck.
Oh.
Howard the Duck. Yes, a great movie. A movie that had everything.
It had Leah Thompson in her panties trying to get it on with the duck.
It had action, excitement, had monsters from outer space.
It had Leah Thompson in her panties getting it on with the duck. What more do you need? I mean, after seducing a shark and Tate Donovan, ew.
It had Tim Robbins. It had a master of quack fu. It had a dumb waitress who thought it was a kid dressed up like a duck.
It was filmed in Cleveland, Ohio.
Despite that, it was a great movie, and it's constantly on the list of like 50 worst movies of all time. What is wrong with you? There was nothing wrong with the movie. Great acting, great story, based off of a comic book character, one of the most ridiculous characters you could ever come up with. But it was a duck that actually was willing to wear pants.
And he came from an egg-shaped planet where Play Duck had naked ducks in it. Why did they need to show naked ducks in this movie?
That one I don't know, but...
The one taking a bath was just over the top ridiculous.
But hey, at least when he came to Earth, he came with protection.
And duck money. And space rabies.
Although I will say, one thing it was lacking was the fact that nobody was really that shocked to see a talking duck. They all just accepted it. That must be somebody in a suit. Like, even if it was somebody in a suit, I'd still probably be a little weirded out.
Boy, you just quacking.
I guess I pulled that right out of my butt, quack. But even had good 80s music.
Yeah, I like Thomas Dolby's music in this, okay?
It was good, but it was definitely very 80s.
Good music, great soundtrack, great movie, great Leah Thompson in her panties.
Yes, dude, Leah Thompson in her panties. Okay.
I'm sorry, I can't get over it.
She was seducing a duck that should help you get over it. It was kind of weird.
That's why I love her so much. I love when girls are weird like that.
It's better than her trying to seduce her son. So, for those of you who keep putting Howard the Duck on your list of worst movies of all time, how dare you?
How dare you?
For our final, how dare you? A movie that we both loved as kids.
A moment of silence for a moment.
Are you asleep?
Huh? What? What? Oh, no. Just resting my eyes. Okay. Moment of silence for the great one. Okay, that's a moment.
My favorite of the Pee Wee Herman franchise, Big Top Pee Wee. I mentioned this in a Comic Corner. Most people liked Pee Wee's Big Adventure way more than this one. And whereas I will give it that Pee Wee's Big Adventure definitely had more going on, definitely had better production, my favorite was always Big Top Pee Wee.
Yeah.
To me, it was just a little bit more fun. Not to say that Big Adventure wasn't fun. Very fun. If you put either one of those movies on, I'm happy. I will sit and watch and be joyful. But I just always was preferring Big Top Pee Wee. Probably because that one had my dream in it of a hot dog plant.
Oh, it was our introduction to Valeria Golino. Penelope Ann Miller even.
Sorry, honey, but...
Gosh. It's about Pee Wee. It's not about the women.
The women didn't hurt.
No, they didn't. Well, Penelope did hurt him a little, but, he hurt her first. He's such a player.
Yeah, but I gotta say, what's wrong with somebody that you don't like a good egg salad sandwich?
Seriously.
It was a good movie. Had Pee Wee Herman. Had beautiful women. Had a circus. And who doesn't love a circus?
Who doesn't love the opening of this movie? He's all on stage sounding like Frank Sinatra. And then when he wants to avoid the crowd, he comes out dressed like Abraham Lincoln and they're fooled. Mr. Lincoln, can I get your autograph? He died, right?
Well, that's a great way to be inconspicuous, is dress up as Abraham Lincoln. Had Chris Christopherson.
Married to a tiny woman about this big.
Yeah, pretty much.
Wonder what their bedroom life was like.
Even had a moment for all of us retail workers who have to deal with the annoying customer who wants to skip in front of everybody else because he wants a cheese sandwich.
And a pickle.
But it was also great to have a movie as a little kid watching and see them stick it to those old people.
Such a great movie.
It was. It had everything you could want.
And it gets torn down way too much. Even on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh,
What
screw
movie are
it.
you people watching? Be a child again and let the ridiculousness take you away. That's the point.
Right, because seriously, think about how fun that movie was. You had Pee Wee Herman, who is incredibly fun, and you had a circus, which is also incredibly fun, and you combine that, it was just an overload of a fun movie. It was everything you could want, minus the bike, but everything else you could want. Honestly, to me, it was a great follow-up to Pee-wee's Big Adventure. So much so that very often I don't think the sequel is better than the original. This case I did. But it got incessantly bashed. People saying that this was it, this was over, and it was because of this. It took almost 30 years to make another Pee Wee Herman movie for Netflix. But those of you who couldn't appreciate one of the funnest movies ever, a movie that just lets your imagination go wild, how dare you?
How dare you?
So there you have it. That's our How Dare You. Hope you guys enjoyed it. More than we enjoyed telling you guys to shove it for not liking these movies. And if you did, make sure to hit like, hit subscribe, hit that little bell so you get notifications from when we post new videos, and leave a comment. Tell me if you agree with us. Tell me if you disagree with us so I can continue to tell you, how dare you.
Leah Thompson in her panties.
Love you guys.